Hey, this is Russ. I have a story to tell you guys. I told this story once before, and I'm sorry if you heard it before and you got to hear it again, but here it is. With all the new people we have now on the channel, it's probably a good idea to tell the story one more time. So, I was growing up, I was finishing up college. I have a bachelor's in electronics engineering, which I never really used on a professional level, although the background has helped me quite a bit in my other areas of career. But that's another story. So my dad decided to open up a stereo store. Do you guys remember what a stereo store is? Yeah, we used to have stores specifically that sold audio equipment. So we started out with a very small store. We sold what we called mid-fi equipment. You guys know what that is? That is the mainstream of stereo equipment. Things like Techniques, Marantz, that type of stuff. But over the years, we started getting better and better equipment. And our lease was running out after 2 years, and so my dad said, well, what do you guys want to do? Should we move on to another location or just call it quits after this? Because our landlord was forcing us to either take a higher rent or forcing us to move to a bigger place, all right? So we all talked about it. My brother and myself ran the store, and my dad was kind of just in the backgrounds all the time. We decided, let's move to a larger location and build out that store. So we took a double store, and we actually built our own sound rooms in there. So anyway, we were there for quite a few years. But while we were at that location, we were on a major street, major street in that general vicinity, across the street from a record store. We figured that would be a good connection, stereo equipment, records. So every day, my brother and I would kind of hang out in the front of the store, not inside the sound rooms, unless there was a customer there. And we just watched the traffic going by and seeing the people walking around, that type of thing. And so we kind of noticed there was this old guy. It's an old Chinese guy. Now, first off, I think if it was just an old guy riding his bike, probably wouldn't have thought too much about it. But it was an old Chinese guy. So, of course, that grabbed our attention. And we'd see this guy riding down the street every single day. I go, who's this old Chinese guy riding this bike? And the bike was not a great bike. It was kind of beat up. It was really old looking. And, he was up there in age, okay? So he'd ride by, and then we'd see him ride back, and it'd be almost like a daily thing that we would see it. Got to the point where my brother and I would watch out for the old Chinese guy riding his bike down the street, and we'd, of course, run out and say, hey, there goes the old Chinese guy. And he'd ride back and forth, okay? So after a while, I just said, who is this old Chinese guy, and where's he going every single day? So anyway, it's kind of funny. So he's riding down the street all the time, and we're always making fun of him as he's going past the store all the time. There goes the old Chinese guy. He's on the bike. There he goes again. And so I started dating this girl. Okay, she went to our church, and then I found out that she didn't live too far from where our stereo store was. So I'm dating her. We're going out and we're doing things, and of course you meet the family over time, right? And it didn't dawn on me initially because I really never paid attention to what the old Chinese guy looked like. Yeah, it turns out the old Chinese guy was the girl's father. Yeah, I don't know how long it took me to finally figure that out, but yeah, I finally figured it out, and I had to go back, and I told my brother and I told my dad. I said, the old Chinese guy is her father. So, now we're watching him going back and forth, and of course he doesn't know we're watching him because, we're inside the store, big picture windows, right? Storefront windows. He doesn't see inwards, but we see outside. So, yeah, I just said, wow, turns out it's her dad. Well, years later, what happens? Yeah, he's my future father-in-law. Yeah. So what's the moral of the story? Here's the moral of the story. Don't ever laugh at the old Chinese guy on the bike, because you might actually end up being the old Chinese guy yourself. Because now as I think back about it, am I the new old Chinese guy on the bike? I kind of am. Yeah, unfortunately he passed away many years ago, and yeah, I do miss him. He was a great father-in-law. My mother-in-law was really good too, so I had really good in-laws. And yeah, kind of miss the guy now. Yeah. But yeah, we look back at the story and we all kind of laugh a little bit because, I finally told the rest of the family the story, and we all have a good laugh about it. That, yeah, the old Chinese guy ended up being my father-in-law down the road. Yeah, anyway, if you have a good story to tell, let us know what your bike story is. Okay, even if you don't have a bike story, tell us a good story. Put it in the comments. These are the type of stories I look back on and I'm kind of thinking, yeah, things turn out differently sometimes. You don't think it's going to affect you, but that the guy that you sit there and you laugh at sometimes turns out to be somebody that's important to you down the road. If you like this story, go ahead and hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so. More stories down the road. New things happening soon. Talk to you guys next time.